5 in the morning.
So over that first night, in the early morning, we were charging the batteries, and again had that what looked like a runaway battery problem, and got on our sat phones and reached back out to Wes at Lanzarote. And we had since taken a course to the Tenerife island, and I got a hold of Wes at 7 in the morning at his house, and told him that we were heading for Tenerife and a harbor called San Marcos, and if there was a better harbor to go to, we'd appreciate hearing that. And he was actually pretty excited that we were headed there because he knew people and was going to be able to help us out. So we got on the phone afterwards and tried to reach out to a marina. The marina said they were full, they couldn't help us, until I let them know that Wes had arranged something for us, and then suddenly they remembered, oh, there's just been a cancellation, we have room for you in the harbor. So that was a great news. And we arrived in Tenerife around 3 in the afternoon after having the battery problems early that morning, probably around 5 in the morning. It was blowing about 15 in the harbor, and that was my first chance to back the boat down a string of boats and then into a slip. But that went well, which was a blessing given really all that we've been through so far. We connected with, as soon as we got into the slip, we connected with Raphael at Outremer back in France, and he was actually ready to start working with us. Wes had reached out to him beforehand and clearly had expressed the urgency of the situation. And Raphael was ready to work with us. And he worked with us probably till about 7 o'clock that night, and then we went ashore for dinner while waiting for the batteries to fully charge so we could perform another check on them. We did so Friday morning. Everything looked good, and we headed out of San Marcos at about 1:15 that afternoon. As we headed out, the winds were pretty light. John Virtue had asked if we had good control of the boat, and if it was an appropriate time to fly the drone and take pictures of the boat. And of course I said yes. It was pretty benign weather. And the drone was following us out of the harbor, and we're not sure what happened, but Spain is somewhat of a communist country, and that drone suddenly made a left-hand turn and flew for the heavens.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. So we rushed out of the harbor in the boat, and the sea, it was blowing 15, 20, probably 20 big swells, and we were pounding into the swells, trying to raise the main and trying to bring the drone in. I'm not sure how we got the drone in next to the boat with the sail up, and suddenly the drone just took off again. And needless to say, we were unsuccessful in retrieving our drone. So the Spanish government now has a drone that says Ojale all over it. Anyhow, so we got out of San Marcos, and on our way a little after 2 o'clock after that mishap, and sailed down the coast. And that's when I did the live Instagram feed, which was actually by mistake. I thought I was doing a video, and it said it was live. So that was kind of fun, and looking forward to seeing that when we get back. At around dinner time, or 6 o'clock or so, we jibed to head out before rounding the bottom of the islands. And when we jibed, the jib track flew over to the other side. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think the net result was the stopping car wasn't firmly planted in the track, and it blew off the end of the track and caused some damage. So we couldn't complete our jibe and had to repair the jib, which we did. We jerry-rigged it with a sheet instead of the stopper, and then we proceeded around the back side of Tenerife, where we became becalmed. And I think some of you asked questions, I know my wife did, Marcy, about why we were so slow going between the islands where we being cautious that we weren't going to hit anything. No, we were powering at 3 knots and dead calm. And the good news of that is everybody got a really good night's sleep that night. So Saturday morning we woke up, great sail, strong winds, about in the mid-20s, building seas, and went to check the batteries later that afternoon with a charge, and once again we had that runaway battery condition on our battery 1. So we shut that down and have taken steps to continue on the trip using only 1 battery. That night, which is Saturday night now, we're talking about, seas were probably 7 foot. It was blowing 26 to 30. We had a double reef, and all these nights we've had no moon. So not a real comfortable night, and we're spending a lot of time managing our sleep through the trip. Sunday morning broke with sunshine. Sort of felt like a new day. We took showers, got cleaned up for the day. The seas moderated. We made a tack to port tack and enjoyed really a nice afternoon and day of just sailing. We say in our sleeping, something that you just don't really understand until you get on the boat is really how noisy it is from wind and water and clanking, and that's made it very difficult for everybody to sleep. So most of our time is spent managing the boat, and then managing our sleep and managing our nutrition. And there isn't a lot of time for much else. That dinner, which was last night, John Sabrin endeavored to make homemade soup on the boat, leek soup with potatoes that was absolutely beyond anybody's expectations and was just killer. It was unbelievable evening. We had homemade soup, then steak, and John paired wine with that, and we had a tremendous meal. Had a good night's sleep last night for 4 hours, and this morning broke with bigger seas. Winds have been pretty much 26, a few gusts to 30, but the winds are ranging from 26 to about 21 knots. Apparent wind is about 19 to 20 knots because we're running downwind, and our speed is, we're trying to keep it at 10 knots, and when we surf it goes up to 15 or 16, but we're trying to maintain a 10. And the instrumentation says that from midnight to now it's about 4:20, we have averaged about 10 knots an hour, so we should do a 240 mile day today again, as we did yesterday. That's pretty much the update. I will make a more regular attempt at a video log tomorrow and tell you about our day-to-day and what's going on tomorrow. Thanks.